footytips.com.au TV.
Welcome to footytips.com.au TV. My name's Francis Leach. G'day, Bev O'Connor. How are you?
Yo, Frank, what's...
Taking it to the street. No, I'm just hiding after my crappy tips last week. If you did follow my tips last week, I apologise.
And me. That cap's not big enough for both of us.
Trying to fit in under there. It was pretty tough going last week with the draw and a couple of upsets, particularly in the derby and the showdown.
Absolutely. Who would have picked Port Adelaide to go down to Adelaide and Freo to go to get over the West Coast?
And you spice it all up with a draw as well, and that makes it pretty tough going. But let's see how we go. Round 19, Richmond Collingwood, MCG Friday night. I think we can get off to a winning start.
just when you think it's safe, the Tigers will come storming home. Let's face it, Collingwood are looking a little shaky. They haven't looked convincing. It took only the final quarter to get across the line, and I think Rocker is the problem at the moment. He's just all over the shop, but he came good for them in the end, so who knows? The Pies?
I think they'll be okay against the Tigers, even though Richmond will play with spirit. I don't think they've got enough to beat Collingwood. Really great game at the MCG on Saturday. Hawthorn play the Brisbane Lions. Really big game for both. The Lions in the last 5 weeks seem unstoppable. Jonathan Brown, if he plays another big one, get your money on him for the Brownlow. I know he's had a slow start to the year. I reckon he's picked up at least 12 votes in the last 5 games. And
look, because exactly that, he is a standout in the Brisbane team. I think Nigel Lappin he's really back to fantastic form.
Simon Black, 12 tackles last week.
Absolutely. The problem is Brisbane have to travel, and they did it the week before against the Pies, another big trip coming their way. Hawthorn rebounded brilliantly, and they've got so much to play for. Mitchell is always just so superb, and I think they'll win it around the stoppages. So, I'm going to go the Hawks in a very, very good encounter.
I'm going to go with you. I think Hawthorn only just. They are having a massive reunion of Fitzroy and Brisbane Lions players at this game. So there'll be a lot of emotion attached to it. They'll be wearing the odd Fitzroy jumper on Saturday as well. So that will give an extra spice to it all. But yeah, I think if the Hawks are serious about top 4, this is their moment. They need to win this one. Port Adelaide and Carlton, well, we know what the Blues are looking at. They're looking at 2008.
Look, they are, but I still think they really have shown some enormous form. Port Adelaide will want to bounce back from last week, so you'd have to go for Port Adelaide on their home turf.
The Western Bulldogs at the Telstra Dome against your D's on Saturday night. Melbourne, I mean, I know, Bev, your heart's in the right place, but at the moment the season can't end quickly enough.
And the injury woes just continue. I mean, we had good news with Ricky Pettard looking a lot better, getting back into shape, but he's away off from playing. A lot of them are away off from playing. A lot of them, on the surgeon's table. So really, I'm afraid the doggies, and they're looking in a lot better form.
I have to agree, the Dogs as well. The really big game of the Saturday is at Sydney at the Telstra Stadium. The Swans and the Saints, 2 teams on the edge of the 8. St Kilda gave it away last week, almost a 4-goal lead against the Western Bulldogs. Couldn't close out the game. They travelled to Sydney. They won there last year, but that was at the SCG. On the other hand, the Swans have lost both games they've played at Telstra Stadium this year on the bigger ground.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to help you. I think St Kilda you just don't seem to have the ability to close it out at the moment. And I think going there, Sydney are just running into form at a very good time of the year. Garrick's just not really delivering when he should. So I think Sydney are just going to be too strong.
I'm going to keep the faith and hope that the Saints can win and keep their top 8 hopes alive. The Kangaroos and West Coast, Telstra Dome also on Sunday. This is a fascinating game. The Eagles, how do you read their form?
All over the place. I mean, they come out and look like a superstar team, almost in their own class, and then they fall away. Look, you've got to think Harvey's got his number, he's got his name on that coaching gig. But this one, West Coast coming over here, Kangaroos really wanting to rebound. Probably go with the Kangaroos at this point.
I think I'll go with West Coast. I think they'll do the rebounding this week. Their midfield is still, I think, having enough quality there to get them across the line. The Kangaroos maybe just hit a road bump last week. It would be interesting to see how they bounce back as well. Geelong and Adelaide at Skilled Stadium on Sunday. The Cats 14 in a row.
Yeah, and everyone's saying what a good home run Collingwood have got. But the Cats, again, at home, they're just looking invincible, and their lead just stretches and stretches.
The Crows won last week against Port.
Sorry, can't convince me.
Okay, the Cats for me as well. And Freo and the Bombers has the bottom fallen out for the Dons after what was an emotional game a couple of weeks ago. Last week they really came a cruncher against Hawthorn. They've got another month with Kevin Sheedy. And really I think most of us feel that it can't end quickly enough for everyone concerned.
Yes, I think for teams like the Essendon, Melbourne, it's really, really tough. I noticed Matthew Lloyd saying it wasn't Sheedy's fault. The players have to take responsibility, and I think that's a really fair point. But look, I don't think the Dons are going to be in this. Freo too strong at home at Subi.
Mark Harvey coaching against his old team. Watch Dean Solomon enjoy an outing against his old team.
If he doesn't join Kath Kim, apparently. That's what he had to say.
Something I want to see. Well, we'll see how we go. Let's hope we get a few more than we did last week.
Otherwise, I don't know where you're going to be wearing that hat.
Down like this. You'll never know who I am. On footytips.com.au TV. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Footytips.com.au TV.